Hello and welcome back to another Game Nexus arcade video. Today we're going to be taking yet another look at Toy Fighter. This time I'm going to be playing as one of the other characters because, you know, I figured this is one of those games that's like fairly rarely seen. So why not have another bit of gameplay here? And as I'd mentioned in the other video, I think that way that Sega logo comes in is pretty cool because it's all like 3D like. But as I'd mentioned in the last video, I recorded the actual intros in another video, but this one I am going to play as this character. I think her name is Roux or Roux, but I figured why not give another character a try in this game and hopefully show you some more characters that you might not have seen in the other gameplay, because, you know, whenever you play a fighting game, whatever characters you play up against is just random, and you never really have a choice as to who you fight against. But if you didn't see the other video, the basic way that Toy Fighter works is that instead of having just 2 rounds and it's the best of 2 rounds, you have 5 life points. And basically, whoever loses all 5 life points first is the loser. And simply defeating your enemy like a normal fighting game takes away 1. This bomber move that you do, which is done by pressing all 3 buttons together, takes away 3. Doing just a regular throw that throws them down on the ground, that takes away 2. So you can have some rather crazy situations where the AI will do this quite a bit, where they'll just quickly take away a lot of your life points before you know it, and you can be defeated pretty quickly. And I'd imagine if I had upped the difficulty a bit, it probably would be a bit harder to win, because, you know, the AI would be trying to throw me like wild. And that's another good thing that I'd mentioned in the previous video, is that when you are in the animation of being thrown, you do have a time to either reverse or actually just escape. And that's one thing that I haven't like fully mastered yet when playing this game. It just seems like I've always been able to either reverse or escape, but I've not seen any rhyme or reason as to which one you can do like better or sooner or easier. And the AI will escape as well, and they will sometimes even reverse, because I've had times where I've tried to do a throw, they reverse it, and then I escape from the reverse, or vice versa. They try to do a throw, I reverse it, and then I end up taking away 2 of their life points. Now, as opposed to the vitamin gameplay, only the first 3 stages here did I actually win without losing at all. And then the next few, well, strangely enough, except for the final boss, I lost at least a couple times. And then somehow in this gameplay, I just beat the final boss without losing even once, which, you know, was probably pretty much just luck. But it's really cool to see like all these characters that you can play against, like this guy who's like a superhero or like a masked wrestler or something. And that's, as I had mentioned in the previous video, it's funny to see when you look at these characters that they're all like don't look like they match in any way, because they're just supposed to be a bunch of random toys who are just fighting in this fighting game. And like, you can have some pretty heated matches. I basically left the gameplay as normal in this. I didn't take it down or take it up or anything, since I figured the difficulty seems pretty balanced. It doesn't seem over the top or too easy or anything. Except for, of course, any fighting game is going to be like this. The first, like, maybe 2 or 3 rounds are usually fairly easy, just to get the player to know what they're doing. And then, of course, they pump up the difficulty as you get to the later stages, because then, you know, they want more quarters to be pumped into the arcade machine. And if you're wondering, I edited this in such a way that it looks fairly seamless, the way that the characters are coming in, but you'll see that the time bumped up a little bit. It's now over 5 minutes because Neji Bird here actually beat me a few times, but you know, not too badly. But the only other thing that's kind of weird about this game is that ring. Some of the characters, when they get close to the edge of the ring, they actually can do a move where they jump off, like you saw Neji Bird do a little while ago there. I think those moves are kind of automatic, because in one of my gameplays I actually had that happen. But one thing I noticed about this character that I'm playing here, she has a lot of like crazy kicks, almost like Sarah Bryant from Virtua Fighter. But if you hadn't seen the previous video I did on this game, this is actually developed by the same developer as Fighter's Destiny, who is Masahiro Onoguchi. So it's kind of a spiritual successor to that game. Now this game was released in 1999 only in Japan apparently. It never got a North American release in the arcades. And of course, as I had labeled on both of these videos, it is 100% arcade exclusive, as there was never a home version of Toy Fighter. The only toy games that got releases at home would be Toy Commander, and then of course in Europe only there was Toy Racer, which was kind of an online racing game. And I still like that whole thing where the kid will just grab the toy and just throw it in the ring, and then you start fighting after he hits you in the back of the head sometimes. Or just lifts your head and you just start fighting. And this is Vitamin's Player 2 costume. Unlike the pink costume that you saw me fight as in the first gameplay, you can switch between the Player 1 and Player 2 costumes by pressing punch for Player 1 costume and kick for Player 2 costume. And as you'd imagine, just like most fighting games, the AI will automatically use whatever player costume you're not using, so you will end up fighting up against the Player 2 costumes if you're using Player 1, and, you know, vice versa, usually. And when I first saw this stage, it made me think of the Doral battle in Virtua Fighter 2, because it's kind of like an underwater motif. And of course, now when it comes to the whole life point thing, since both characters can lose all their life points, it can lead to some rather long fights, because I could lose 4 of my life points, and then my opponent can lose all 5 of theirs, and yeah, that ends up making a whole round of the game take a lot longer than it normally would have if just best of 3 rounds was kind of the rule. But you'll see, like, a lot of the characters have a weapon, like that. There's that lizard guy, and he has a sword on his back, and he can pull that out and use it for certain moves. And of course, Vitamin there has like a pan on her back that she can pull and like hit you with the pan. And this guy's what I like to call the main character of the game, because he's like the first one on the selection screen and seen first in the intro video. So I kind of like coined that he's like the Ryu of this game, because he's like main character man. And he has like a couple of like crazy kicks that remind me of AG and Kaien from Battle Arena Toshinden, because I think one of them has one of those kicks that's like kind of that bring your leg like all the way up and kick. And there's that bomber move that I had mentioned that takes away 3 life points, but as you notice there, the character has to like charge it up, and that therefore makes it harder to hit, because if the other character is watching you and making sure you don't pull off your super move there, of course they're going to hit you before it happens. And the only way that move actually hits is that you have to charge all the way up, and then usually, like I think with this character, she actually hits them with her hand. If that hit doesn't hit, then the move misses. And the same thing with Vitamin. If she has her like giant pan that comes from behind her back, if that doesn't hit the character, then of course the bomber move doesn't hit, and therefore it's just simply a miss, and it doesn't take away three life points. It just whiffs, and it does nothing, and it uses part of your bar and one of your bomber moves that you have stored up. which with the bonus bomber, if you get like a wonderful, then you get another one added to the ability to use more. But yeah, this is the Toy King here. He's the boss. He's kind of like this like Megazord Transformer type dude. And this was the only time I had actually played this where I defeated him without losing once. So I was actually quite surprised. I was like, oh, now that the other guy before him had defeated me so much, he's going to defeat me a lot. And just like in my other gameplay, what happens is your Toy King is replaced with whoever just beat him, and then it'll say congratulations, and then of course the whole credits roll here. And as I had made mention in the previous video, yeah, this is a really fun game that I would really recommend. Either like get a Naomi cartridge, or if you have a Naomi or Naomi 2 with like a NetDim, you might want to try net booting this game. Or if you have to go as far as to play it on an emulator, I would recommend playing this on an emulator, because it's just that fun of a game and that unique of experience that you really can't have anywhere else, because sadly this is one of those many games like Planet Harriers or Brave Firefighters, or just like a lot of the Sega arcade games that just never made it home. And other than going out and getting the arcade hardware like I have, there really is no like quote-unquote legal way to play this game for like the general end user, if you will. But it's definitely a really fun fighting game with some unique dynamics. As I had probably made mention of earlier, the gameplay feels a bit Virtua Fighter-like, but also feels a bit unique because of that whole life point system, and it's not just best of 3 rounds. So you might want to give it a shot just for that aspect of the whole thing, because it's just a bit of a different fighting game, and especially if you're just a fan of 3D fighting games, it just feels different when it comes to how the game really plays. But as I said, I would highly recommend everyone try Toy Fighter, especially if you were a fan of Toy Racer or Toy Commander and you just kind of want to see the other game in the series. It's definitely a good time, and I'd imagine it's even better if you have some other players to play against. And then here we just end up ranking in, and I didn't end up doing better than the other gameplay. But yeah, try Toy Fighter. It's definitely a fun game, however you're able to play it. But yeah, this has been another Game Nexus arcade video, and I shall see you later. Bye!